Chairman Coomer is unable to make it tonight, so as Vice Chair, I'll be officiating the meeting. And first thing on the agenda is approval of last month's minutes. Mike, and a second. All in favor? All righty. Minutes are approved. We have one public hearing on tonight's agenda. Ronald and Mary Oberson Ritter have applied for a variance to reduce the setback of their yard from 10 feet to 5 feet on East Main Street. And we'll let Mrs. Jerry give us the details on that.
All right, sorry, the slideshow will be up in a minute. It's my fault, I got it to IT a little late. All right, so the applicant is requesting a 5-foot variance from the side yard setback requirement of 10 feet to construct an addition on the existing single-family structure in the R1A zoning district. This property, let me get to the back here. This property has a lot width of 60 feet rather than the required 70 feet for the R1A zoning district. So that's typically something, thank you. And so you can see here's the property here. So it is a 60-foot lot width. We typically require 70 feet for the R1A. So that is something that you can take into consideration when you're looking at a variance. If it differs from what's typically found in that zoning district or in the general vicinity, it also is, as you can see, a little bit more narrow than all the other homes on that block. And here's a sketch of the building plan here. So this is the addition. As you can see, there's already some existing structures kind of built within here. As the applicant will explain, this was kind of the only location that they could see for this addition here. The minimum lot width of 60 feet, that's typically what's allowed in the R1B zoning district. We require an 8-foot side yard setback from that. So, when you're looking at 60 feet, he is asking for 5. We typically would require the 8 when we're looking at a 60-foot lot width. So something to keep in mind, but that's what we're looking at. So with a variance, you are looking for if you're creating an unnecessary hardship or if there's something unique about the property that would allow for the variance to be accepted. So are there any questions for me?
Any staff concerns about it?
No, Preston had some questions about fire safety, and that was my first question that I talked with the applicant about as well. It's kind of hard to see on these, I guess this area is a little bit better, but you typically look for a 15-foot width without having to require additional firewalls and safety. That's my understanding of building and code enforcement. They have well beyond 15 feet from where they're proposing the addition to this neighboring property owner's structure. The neighboring property owner would still be held to the 10-foot setback on their side. So with the 5 feet, you're still looking at that 15-foot separation unless in the future variance were to be granted on this property. So that's usually the biggest safety concern when you're looking at a side yard setback reduction. And I think in this instance, with the separation that's existing, it shouldn't be a major concern. But.
Sounds good. Thank you, ma'am.
Yep.
You here to speak for the applicant? Okay, please step up and state your name and place of residence and that your testimony is truthful to your knowledge.
All right, my name is Ron Ritter, and I live at 315 East Lexington Avenue with my wife, Amy. Exactly what she has shown is what we're requesting. We've also got a letter from our neighbor, making sure he was okay with the approach of doing that, in which I think we gave her a copy of the signed letter that he had no problem with it. That is the only place we can put that because, as you'll see, the stairs behind it, those are stairs that go up to a room above the garage and carport. If we move that too far to your left, it blocks that, and then it starts infringing on our carport, which is the one right next to the steps, right there. That's a carport, and the other one's a garage. And so we tried to get as close as we could to that, to be able to make sure we still could walk through there and have access to that upstairs room above that garage.
Anybody got any questions?
Could I ask a question?
Certainly.
Did the fire marshal comment on anything?
No, I didn't send it to him, but,
Okay. Building inspector have any questions?
no,
None?
no.
Okay.
And I can't remember what, I think I sent you, verbally or something, told you how many feet that was.
Yeah,
Off the top of my head,
yeah,
I
off the
can't
top of my
remember
head,
what
I
it
can't
was.
remember, but I think it was 25.
Yeah, it was like 25 feet from the property line to his house, the
Yeah.
closest part of his house. So it was well exceeding over the 15, rather than being somewhat close.
Yeah, that's just from my prior experience, it's the 15 feet. Anytime you go within 15 feet is when you start asking for the fire marshal and building inspector's input on,
Okay. I was
so-
just wondering if there were any firewall requirements, 2 or 4 hour or anything like that.
Yeah, yeah. My experience says the 15 feet is when,
Is okay.
is when you have to put the firewall in if you're encroaching
Okay.
beyond that.
All right.
And so that's usually when you start talking to them to see if the setback is even okay, if it's a safety concern, those types of things, so.
Okay, great, thank you.
Any other questions for Mr. Ritter? Thanks, sir.
Thank you.
Since nobody else is here, I guess there's nobody to speak in opposition to it, but we'll offer them the opportunity to. Having received none, we are open to discussion on this or deliberation.
Ms. Gary answered my question.
And as long as the neighbor's not opposed to it, I don't see it. I don't have a particular concern.
Doesn't seem to be any concerns. Anybody want to entertain a motion? All right. We have a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. Finding that this application is justified by the property being a non-conforming lot of record, as well as the current layout limiting potential placements for an addition. And the board also finds that the 15-foot separation from the closest adjoining house preserves the standard spacing for any fire safety concern.
Excellent job, Jim. You, anybody second that?
I'll second.
Vicky, second by Vicky. Any other discussion? All in favor? Unanimous decision. Thanks, sir. You're good to go. Any other old business before us today?
No, Henry had mentioned that I might want to give you all an update on the discussion regarding New Vista, which we had the variance request come in last month regarding the parking, if you all remember that.
Oh, the parking.
Oh, yeah.
on the Access road.
Yep,
Yeah.
on the access road. So my recollection, now I'm questioning my recollection. But I believe they decided to remove all parking for those first 6 spaces, so not requiring landscaping, but you all had allowed for the 2 kind of parallel spaces, but they decided to just ask for no parking within that area and a striped neutral zone, so it had a more clear ingress egress. And then the 2 additional spaces that we're still gonna be pulling out onto the access, they asked for that to be employee only.
That's as good as I remember. I would have offered the report if I had the recollection or my notes before me. I just want you all to know that the Planning Commission reviewed and took a good amount of time looking at your condition that you put on that property. And it's kind of an unusual circumstance of them hearing the next day what you discussed on Tuesday night. So there might be more things like that in the future.
Sounds good. Any other old business?
Nope.
Any new business? Not from you? All righty. Well, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make it a motion, we adjourn.
Motion by Vicky. Anybody second that? Second by Jim. All in favor?
Amen.